Well, hello, and welcome to Stop, Let's Team Up, episode 75, Justice Society of America, number 5. We're going to be covering that, and this time I picked Wizard 1/2, Astro City 1/2, which has a great story. It's one of my favorite Astro City stories, and I think it kind of ties in what I want to talk about with this issue, which is Volume 4, Justice Society of America, number 5. So let's get some pertinent data from the DC Fandom Wiki. This comic was released on August 1st, 2023, just a couple weeks ago. Cover date October 2023. The title of this story is called The New Golden Age, Chapter 5, Past and Present. It has a great Mikel Janin cover with all the Justice Society members flying across like you're looking from below. Executive editor is Marie Javins. It was written by Jeff Johns, pencils by Michael Janin, inks by Jerry Ordway, who does some of his own pages, it looks like too. Colorist Jordi Balair and John Calzitz. Rob Lee is the letterer. Marquis Draper, Andrew Marino, and Katie Kubert are the editors. Featured characters are Dr. Fate, Khalid Nassour, Hatut in the background, Huntress, Helena Wayne, Justice Society of America, Earth Zero, because this is what the universe is now called, Dr. Midnight, Beth Chappell, The Flash, Jay Garrett, Green Lantern, Alan Scott, Hawkgirl, Kendra Saunders, cameo only, Jakeem Thunder and Johnny Thunderbolt, Mr. Terrific, Michael Holt, Power Girl, Karen Starr, Stargirl, Courtney Whitmore, and Wildcat, Yolanda Montez. Supporting characters, Batman, Bruce Wayne of Earth Zero. Yes, she goes to see her not dad. The Boom, Judy Garrick from Earth Zero. Our Man, Matthew Tyler from DC 1 Million. Justice League Dark, Earth Zero. Deadman, Detective Chimp, and Madame Xanadu. Justice Society of America, Earth 2 Past. Al Pratt Adam, Kent Nelson, Dr. Fate, Naboo, behind the scenes. The Flash, Jay Garrett, Green Lantern, Alan Scott, Hawkman, Carter Hall, Our Man, Rex Tyler, Sandman, Wesley Dodds, and the Expector, Jim Corrigan. Justice Society of America, Helena Wayne's Future, Gentleman Ghost, Jim Craddock, Harlequin's Son, Michael Maine, Icicle, Cameron Monkent, The Mist, Kyle Knight, Power Girl, Karen Starr, The Red Lantern, Ruby Sokolov, Solomon Grundy, Justice Society Post-Rebirth, this is in the 30th century, The Atom, Dr. Fate, Sophie is her name, and a Green Lantern, looks like Alan Scott's green ring, and the antagonist is Per Degatons of Hypertime. The Per Degaton from Helena's Future, The Stranger, or Per Degaton from Earth Zero and his army. And then we also get to see Batman of Alternate Earth Zero, Batgirl, Cassandra Cain, Batgirl, Stephanie Brown, Nightwing, Dick Grayson, Red Hood, Jason Todd, Robin, Damian Wade, and Robin, Tim Drake. We get to see some of the Flashpoint characters, which I'm not... There's so many people in this. Ooh, Legion of Superheroes in Alternate Future. Block, Brainiac 5, Cosmic Boy, Dawnstar, Lightning Lad, Saturn Girl, Shadow Lass, Superman, Clark Kent, Ultra Boy, and Wildfire. Also, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in this. Hypertime, 21st Century, Alternate... It's just all over the place. I'm liking this. It's the multiverse. All the multiverse stuff is what got me to pick the issue of Astro City that I picked. Some trivia. Helena Wayne mentions that his father... Helena Wayne mentions that his father will be killed by Bill Jensen. This is a reference to the Golden Age character William Bill Jensen, which is the killer of the Earth 2 Batman. In a possible future of Earth Zero, where Per Degaton's army defeats the heroes of Earth, Geoforce is shown to be a member of Black Knight Lightning's Outsiders. This may suggest that in the near future he will be released from Argus jail, where he's being imprisoned because of his actions in the Shadow War, which I did not read. So this was the last issue of it. I really liked the series. I wanted to kind of go back and read all of it in one sitting, and I didn't get a chance. Work is hellish crazy. So I just read this again, and it's again, the art is stunning. The cover is stunning. I more and more I see Mr. Jennings' art, the more I love it. And the colorist is amazing too. I think the choice of colors and the way they use color is amazing. And it starts with Helena has gone to is standing on the roof of a building in Gotham and talking to a man who may be her father in the future. And this is what she's thinking. My name is Elena Wayne. I'm the daughter of Batman and Catwoman. I'm the Huntress. I traveled back to the past to save the Justice Society of America from a time-traveling fascist called Degaton. In the wake of his attack on the JSA tonight, I realized because I was from the future, I was Degaton's proverbial kryptonite. I'm essentially invisible to him. So while the JSA regrouped to track down Degaton, I snuck back to Gotham. Because while I'm in the past, I'm going to save my father too. So after he drops Mr. Toad at Arkham, I tell him everything. About Mom, my JSA, how 20 years from now he'll be murdered by a man he hasn't even met yet called Bill Jensen. He just stares at me a long while. I know I sound like a lunatic, so I try to think of something else to say, but nothing comes. Damn it, say something, Elena. And in the next panel, she just wraps her arms around him, crying, saying, I missed you, Dad. And his response is, if any of what you're saying is true, you shouldn't have told it to me. I come back in time to save Mom and the Justice Society from Degaton. And he's like, I understand that, Helena, but Degaton is interfering with time. Saving those he kills, like your mother and the Justice Society, is justified. But my future is relevant to Degaton, or your mission is irrelevant. I read that wrong. And she's like, not to me. And he'd say, I'd risk the universe for my father too. In fact, I have Flashpoint Beyond, which is, I don't want to say bash. People, are kind of sick of Flashpoint. I get that. I liked the original event. I didn't like the rebirth. I didn't like the New 52 universe. I thought it was terrible. I mean, I really none of it ever connected. Okay, I'm not going to say terrible. I take that. None of it really ever connected. I kind of like some of the Jim Lee's Justice League because they look pretty, but I think those books got better. I did like the Dark Side War. I did like the Aquaman. There is some stuff I liked, but I think I prefer more Rebirth when it comes to Superman and Batman and some other characters. So and I like this whole Earth Zero thing, and I kind of like what they did in Stargirl, where they say that all the divine continuities, all the different timelines exist. They're all there out there. You can still tell stories in them. And I like that and I appreciate it. And I want to recommend, listen to the Justice Society Presents podcast with Shag and Sean. It's a great episode. They covered the entire Stargirl Lost Children series. It's a wonderful discussion. And they had some good points in it, I thought, about the divine continuity and stuff like that. And it's worth a listen. It's a great podcast. So I'm going to put a link on the page. So, but then their conversation is interrupted by the Justice Society and and Justice League Dark showing up. And I'm going to say this now, and I'm going to say it loud and very proudly, not loud and proud, very loud, that I think Deadman, Detective Chimp, and Madame Xanadu should be members of the Justice Society. That's all I'm saying. But they show up, and then so does Degaton. Lots of Degatons. Old, young, We cut to the bunker where his original time experiment, where he was a century ago, and it's all beat up. But there's a little kid Degaton in full regalia, and he's going to try to kill Courtney and Yakeem and Johnny Thunderbolt. And I think you got another thing coming. And then it's kind of like this great battle with all these Degatons in different places fighting. And since Helene is blind to him, and then we find out from Khalid, who I'm going to read. I swear to God, I'm going to read that Paul Levitt stuff. I've heard nothing but good things about where Khalid's Dr. Fate series. You can't see my future, Dr. Fate. Stay close enough to me, and my aura will hide you too. In fact, if I extend it to the entire JSA, Degatons, please, Khalid. Just because I'm not aware of what you will do makes you no more formidable. I'm more endless than the Just Society, and I will replace you. And Xanadu goes, no, the world will belong to him. Xanadu, and then the narration, Helena goes, Madame Xanadu screams, and the world goes dark. We see what she sees. And it shows, it's a Jerry Ordway page. If it's him inking Janet, it really just looks like Jerry. But it shows a group of Degatons around in the brownstone around the meeting table. It's got a big D on it. And that's in the past. In the present, it shows him killing, his stormtroopers killing the outsiders. And it's Geoforce, Black Lightning, the Signal, I guess, is that thing. And then all the different sidekicks hanging upside down. And then the future, it's him killing the Justice Society. I don't like that. But it's my Justice Society. It's the Justice Society I kind of like. Block's in there, so I'm happy. No Element Lab, but Block's in there. And then he attacks. One of the Degatons attacks Xanadu and tries to get the snow globe. And she tosses it to Khalid. And he goes, let fate show you otherwise. Oh, no, wait a minute. Let me go back. You believe yourself more endless than the Justice Society, says Khalid. Let fate show you otherwise. And he catches the snow globe. And then, all of a sudden, Justice Leagues from the past and the future come out. It's a beautiful 2-page spread. Beautiful, beautiful. And it's everybody. It's everybody we've seen in the series. It's the original lineup. It's Helena's lineup, which I like all the villains in it. I think it's great. I'm sorry. I like a future Justice Society where it's all these legacy villains. Jack Knight's kid, the Gentleman Ghost, Solomon Grundy, Harlequin, the son of Harlequin. It's awesome. And then we see, and then the next page is the Justice Society of yesterday. It shows the original team of now. It shows the new team of tomorrow, and it shows Helena's team. And then it goes, and beyond even that, and there, Adam, the Dr. Fate, Sophie, and the Green Lantern of the 30th century appear. And the tide turns. The Degatons start losing. It's mostly action. The main Degaton gets shifted into the snow globe, and then you see Thomas Wayne Batman, Martha Wayne Joker, and their creepy Robin. And he's screaming, let me out, let me go. And Khalid's just looking into the globe. Oh, that's just cool. That is, I really did love that. I really did love it. And the narration, from after the introduction of the 30th century Justice Society, Degaton's lifespan is limited, where the Justice Society will live on. And that's why we do this, to make sure the light never dies. The Dr. Fates know that they can't truly destroy a living paradox like Degaton, but they can imprison him. And that's when he goes into the globe. And it says, in a shard of time, Adam Zoo called it, with Degaton captured and the spell complete, everyone returns to their own timeline. Everyone except me. And her Kara, her Power Girl from the future, it fades away, and Batman is staring at her. And then he's talking. My dad says there are others out there like me. Living paradoxes should no longer exist. Per Degaton, Eobard Thane, my grandfather, Thomas Wayne, and Power Girl. I hadn't realized, but it makes so much more sense now. Like Karen, I can't go back home because there's no home to go back to. According to Madame Xanadu and the Justice Society, my future no longer exists because of me. I wait for my dad to ask to come with him, but he just stares at me through the window, and then I read his lips. He whispers to Madame Xanadu, she can't stay here. And then we cut 1 week later to the New York City brownstone, and the Justice Society are chatting, and it's Flash, Power Girl, Johnny Thunderbolt, Jakeem, Alan Scott Green Lantern, Mr. Terrific, Beth Chappell, Doc Midnight, and Yolanda Montez Wildcat. And they're discussing what to do with Huntress, and then they hear a voice say, Dad, and you turn around, and it is Courtney, the Hour Man from DC 1 Million, and boom, Judy Garrick, his daughter. So basically, in the week between, I guess it's a week between the end of this story and the final 2 pages is when Courtney goes to the Island of Lost Children. Overall, I love this series. I really, really did. I do think it drags a little bit in the middle. There was a couple issues where I kind of was like, I wish I added more. That's why I kind of want to read it together. I think John's less so. I think this is 5. This is only 6 issues if you count the one shot. I mean, it's not a long story, so I don't think he overwrote it. I don't think he really overwrites. I think he overplots things in the long run. Sometimes, and that's a pet peeve I have with him. But I think this one is really tight and precise. People said it was more about Helena than Justice Society, but I think this is not an origin of a new Justice Society. It's an origin of this era of the Justice Society. For how long, ever long it lasts. I think this book sold well. I think it's well received. I hope they continue. They are. They're going to do, as issue 6 is coming out, and there's a wonderful Tony Harris alternate cover. I may ask my comic shop to save me one of those, and I pay a little extra. But they're going to go on and do more, and it's going to deal with the kids, some of the lost kids from Stargirl, The Lost Children. Comparing the two series, I think Stargirl, The Lost Series is the better story. I think it works better. Every issue gives you more bang for the buck. But I do like this. They're two totally different monsters. One is the Justice Society of these grown-ups, and one is a little more fun. And I think Johns writes kid stuff fun. It's like, Young Justice under Wade. I think Johns' Teen Titans is one of my favorite runs. I think he understands. And I'm a huge Johns fan, so I loved it. I do think Justice Stargirl was a little bit better. I like the lineup we're seeing. I hope we see more. I'm sad that her timeline's erased because I would like to see stories set in that timeline. And and maybe this is way John fixes, because supposedly John was going to bring back, and I've not read all the writing about it, but John wanted to bring back a different Legion in Doomsday Clock, and he was made to stop it. The book was delayed because, his artist partner on that, Gary Frank, can be slow. He can be slow. I don't get it. Don't solicit until it's done. Just, or at least 3/4 done. So if you have any mishaps, you've got more than enough time to make up for it. But I really liked it. I loved Helena because I was a kid. I was 9 when All-Star Comics came back, and we were introduced to Power Girl, and Dick Grayson was more, and he was in a little bit. Star Spangled Kid became American Justice Society, and that Paul Levitz, Joe Stanton, Wally Wood, one of the best, amazing run on Justice Society, kind of created that. And then they created Helena Wayne, and she was great. And then Crisis, her, and Dick are killed, and I hated it. And I really I read some of the new Huntress on and off, and I don't mind the character. I like the daughter of a mob boss being inspired by Batman and kind of joining the Batman family, but being a little more aggressive and outside of Batman's wheelhouse. I like that character. There was a lot of good books in the 80s that I liked, like Green Arrow, and I would jump in and out of Huntress, and The Question, and it was a good era for those kind of heroes. And I liked that Helena, but I missed this Helena, missed the original Helena, and I understand a lot of people did. But I'm always one goes, comics change. You're not writing for me. I'm 60, almost 6 years old. You should be writing for trying to get readers across the board, new, old, and that's what you should always do. And I think John did that with his early 2000s Justice Society. I think that is the best Justice Society continuous run ever written. I think his take on it, his take on Legacy, is impeccable. That's why I don't mind him creating new sidekicks. I think if anybody's going to do it, let him do it. And I want to see where that goes. And I want to see young Justice Society. I want to see him do more with those characters too, because it's a real good start. It's a really good start. Both of these books are really good starts for more of this to happen. But I still miss Helena, and I like this. This way we get to see what this the Zero's Batman daughter with Catwoman would be, and she would have a different future. It would be a little more angsty, but it's neat, and I like it. So I think she is a little bit more that Helena. She's a little more tragic because they're both gone, and they did that with her in the other, because they had, her mom was dead and then her dad died. And it was a big deal when they killed off Earth 2 Batman. So there was a little pathos to her, and sadness in her. So I don't mind it. But I did like this one. I like the redesigns. I like Alan Scott with the beard. I wear a beard. You get old, you wear a beard. And I like him. It was good to see Michael Holt kind of leading the team, Jay being in it. I want to see what happens with Beth Chappell and Yolanda. I really liked Peter Cross, and I really liked Ted's son, Ted Grant's son. But I want to see where they go, because I don't remember Infinity Inc. as much. The end part of it. I read it up half through McFarlane and a little before Sylvester died, and then I bought issues, but I missed the end of it. So it's something I need to go and read, and I will probably do it as an ongoing series with guests, because I do want to read it. And since Star Rocket Radio isn't doing any more episodes, I just want to wait and see what happens, see if Billy wants to pick up that again. But I do want to read some Infinity Inc. so I know more about those characters. But overall, I loved it. I think everybody should read it. I think it's a lot of fun. Now we're going to go on to the second comic, which is Kurt Busiek's Astro City 1/2, which was a Wizard giveaway. It doesn't have a cover date, does it? No, I don't see that. We'll go, but let's kind of go through this. It was put out by Wizard Magazine, which was a great comic. I bought it. It wasn't great. It was just what we had for comic news. It was a little nerdy, fresh, but it's this story. There's this great little story in this, and The Nearness of You is a 16-page story. It's got a great cover by Alex Ross, or coupled covers, because it was published. It was reprinted in Astro City number 17 Aftermath in 2019, and then Astro City, March 22nd. March 22nd, Astro City Metro Book, Volume 1. Okay, yeah, which I have not gotten. It was reprinted in Wizard Presents Kurt Busiek's Astro City Homage, 1996, issue half, that is. And it was also in the Confession book, which is that I'm reading. Is the hardcover. I had the reprint of the hardcover that it has, like the kind of what the last 10 or 15 Astro Cities had a standardized cover, because I didn't get the I got the hardcovers for everything else as they came out, except for Confessions, which is my favorite. My paperback copy just fell apart, and I gave it to somebody. I said, "Here, keep this. It's great." So the script is by Kurt Busiek and Len Kaminsky. Special thanks, story suggestion. Pencils by Brent Anderson, who I think is a god of a comic artist. He is one of my all-time favorites. Wonderful inks by Will Blyberg. Colors by the amazing Alex Sinclair from Wildstorm FX. Letters John Rochelle and Comicraft. And covers by Alex Ross, as always. The characters in this are the First Family: Augustus First, Julius First, Natalie First, Nick First, All-American, whose name is Johnny Appleton, and Beauty, Terran, the Halcyon Hippie, the Hangman, Jack in the Box, Lamplighter, MPH, Enforcer, the Old Soldier, Samaritan, the Silver Agent, Slugger, Star Woman. Ooh, I should do an episode about her on Opal City. Michael Tennick, and Miranda. Tennick, Timekeeper, Winged Victory, and Tempest Fugit. The synopsis is: Michael Tenchek cannot stop thinking of a woman who appears in his dreams, Miranda. The hangman explains to Michael that he dreams of his wife from a reality that no longer exists, and gives him the option of forgetting or remembering her. And this is such a good story. Some notes: the new show mentions the Conquer Lord, the Timekeeper mentions the Astronaut. So there was another story in the 1/2, but I'm only covering this one because that was what was kind of important to me, and why I wanted to may have a discussion about it, because it lines up with some of my thoughts about Hunter. So I remember reading this, and it came in 96, so it was only 9 years after Crisis. And this is a take, because Crisis happened, and not in a way that things blow up now, but there was a lot of, there was just a lot of people were unhappy with what happened in Crisis, or a lot of us that were happy with Crisis. And over the years, some people have said I really prefer everything pre-crisis, and I'm like one. I like both. I really, some of my favorite DC stuff is in the first 10 years after Crisis. I mean, really, Wally's Flash, Green Lantern, the Bwahaha Justice League. Just so much good stuff. Just so much good stuff. And since Astro City is a love letter to comics and all the different tropes, he wanted to show you what happens after one of these big events. And this one's not multiple worlds. It's through time. And we get to meet Michael. And he's dreaming of this woman. And it's driving him crazy. And he lives in Opal City. And he's just distracted. And it's affecting his work, his friends, his work, having other relationships. He keeps looking for her. And then he starts looking for her. Starts calling his mom and old college buddies. And, he's taking antidepressants. It's just eating away at his life. And he hears a noise and he turns, and then there's the hangman there. And he's like, the hangman, you never leave Shadow Hill. And then he says to Michael, I go where I am needed, Michael Tennick. And tonight, one of the places I am needed is here. He does not hear the words. Rather, they simply appear in his mind, says the narrator. Not so much as spoken as inscribed. Your dreams trouble you, and in turn, they trouble reality. You fear, and you are going mad. You are not here. What? Hey, what? I shall show you. And then we get this flashback to 1943, First National Bank on Novick, named after Irv Novick, who drew a lot of Batman, a lot of Flash. And the guy named the Timekeeper, who is this referee-based costume, and his henchmen all have dressed like the Spirit in a way, with clock faces on their back. And they are stopped by the All-American, who is a guy with a sports motif superhero. He's got a device that looks like a football. He's kind of like a mix of the Sportsmaster and Captain America, and his sidekick Slugger, the Junior Dynamo, and he smash it, and they defeat him. And Michael's like, what does it have to do with me? It's like, what does it have to do with me? It was so long ago. And he sees that the Timekeeper is so mad that he builds a bigger time machine, and he goes and he meets this character called Etrion, the Lord of Time. And he gives... Well, this is what Etrion says. I am Etrion, Lord of Time. Go back, little human. You are disturbing my domain, wielding forces you cannot hope to comprehend. I don't care. I shattered the Time Bearer, broken through it into the chronal realm. I have the power, and I won't give it up. That the patterns of time can be rewoven and altered. I'm going to do nothing. I'm not going to be a nothing anymore. I'm not going to be a loser. I've broken time. I will bend it to my will, and you won't. And you will bow to me, and I'll kill you. And they're having this huge fight. It's like this cheap 40s gangster and this godlike time creature battling, and it starts affecting time. And on the bottom of this double page where they're battling, it's a crisis-like scene where you're seeing all these heroes and from different times overlapping. Like Samaritan disappears, the lamplighter is back, the beatnik is now the hippie, the first family's there, and the hangman shows him all this, Michael all this, and then the hangman says, yesterday, 5 decades ago. Does it matter? And then Michael goes, I understand, I think. She died, didn't she? I knew her, and she died in that maelstrom. She was your wife, and she never existed. The chronal reconstruction was not exact. My wife? Ares first battled the Barnstormers on a Sunday, not a Monday, and as a result, her grandparents never met. For the most part, the new reality is whole, but close bonds such as yours, they create a weakness in the fabric of time, one that could let through dangerous things. But the weakness is healed by your understanding. I cannot return her to you. That is beyond even my power. But if the pain is too much, I can allow you to forget. Forget her, huh? No, I don't want to forget her. As you wish. You will not remember this visit, though your sense of understanding will remain. Now I have others to visit tonight. Wait, others? But what did they forget? And in a moment, he thinks and sees the twitch of a smile under the burlap sack. No one forgets, no one. Good night, Michael Tennick. Sleep well. And then he was gone, and the memory of him fades like smoke on a summer breeze. And he has pleasant dreams about her. And it's all because the Hangman did a good deed. I loved it. It's one of my favorite. But it's kind of like showing you, like, how we as fans, when they do these big reboots and characters die. But what about, and what's great about Astro City is, what does it mean when those events happen to the man on the street? And it's so well told. It's beautiful art by Brett Anderson. And it's just the perfect thing. It makes me kind of look at I can read that and go, you know what? I don't care what they did in the last event. No, I have it, it doesn't matter. I understand what Michael's going through. The future, the characters that I loved that were from a previous continuity are gone, but I still remember them, and it's still a good thing. That's just what I took. Why I wanted to read that one, and what I took it is to take the positive. Is he understands that love he had before still exists, and he's whole. So we lose characters in comics in these events, and I just thought it was kind of a nice metaphor, whatever the literary thing it was. I just thought it was great, and this is such a good. I think it was just the thing I needed to read after reading the final issue of this arc in Justice Society. Well, folks, that's it. This is a little longer than I'd hoped, but it works crazy, and I had time to squeeze this episode in, and I edited. There'll be 2 episodes this week, one today and one on Thursday. The one on Thursday is part of something me and Ron are doing from Fantastic Comic Fans, celebrating Steve Gerber, and me and him did an episode about Steve's career on his show, which will drop on Thursday, and on Thursday, our conversation about Howard the Duck, created by the amazing Steve Gerber, will drop then too. I do not think there will be a Legion episode this week. I'm working 12 hours tomorrow, probably a boatload. I am off on Saturday and Sunday, fingers crossed, and I'm going to do some podcasting. So I'm going to get a little ahead. There will be a Starman episode this week. It will probably be Wednesday or Saturday. I have not decided, but it will come out. I will do one. All right, folks, as always, be safe, be smart, read some comics, and also listen to Justice Society Presents. It's a great podcast. There's not that many episodes. The guys do it a little irregularly, but the guys do great work. They've discussed Stargirl Summer Special, the new Golden Age one-shot, and they just covered the entire Lost Children in one, and maybe they'll cover this. I don't know. I think I'm going to try to cover it as a whole, of the Justice Society, the arc as a whole. I just want to get the right guest or guest. But listen to that. Listen to him. A lot of fun. Also, please check out Billy D's Monsters, Magazines and Monsters. I'm enjoying it. It's making me want to watch some Hammer. It's all on you, Billy. And please check out Ron's amazing short-form podcast about everything comics, Kickstarters, Golden Age, Silver Age, silly conversations with me at the Fantastic Comic Fan. And read some comics.